Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and today we're looking at a new moon in Scorpio, and it is October 25th, 2022, and that moon in Scorpio is also with a partial solar eclipse in Scorpio. And that's taking place at 6:48 a.m. today in the Eastern Time Zone at 2 degrees 0 minutes of Scorpio. So let's take a look at the forecast for today and see what I've written. New moon and partial solar eclipse in Scorpio, Tuesday, October 25th, intensifies your feelings and makes memories of love and loss more poignant. While you review the past, let go of the old, and prepare for future growth. As the moon joins the Sun and Venus in Scorpio, as well as Mercury in Libra, while forming quincunx aspects with Neptune in Pisces, conjunct Jupiter in Aries, and a square aspect with Pluto, the ruling planet of Scorpio, in the sign of Capricorn. Scorpio is a water sign associated with the 8th house in the zodiac wheel, the house of sex, death, taxes, metaphysics, and the occult, investments, inheritances, and legal partnerships. The merging of boundaries and the sharing of values or assets are primary Scorpio concerns, so you can expect any of these issues to become a focus. In the Scorpio season, we celebrate Halloween, All Saints' Day, and the Day of the Dead. The square between the Scorpio planets and Pluto could bring added heaviness to the grief of lost love, as well as an awareness of one's own mortality. It is up to you whether you use that square as justification for the fearful avoidance of living a passionate life, or as motivation to live as if you know you will die someday anyway, choosing to be fearlessly determined to make the most of the time you have now. A grand trine of Mercury in Libra, Mars in Gemini, and Saturn in Aquarius indicates that ideas, communication, and connection with other people are readily available to keep you moving forward once you come out of this introspective dark lunation. Scorpio is perceptive and penetrating, as well as cathartic and transforming. The best treasure is usually buried the deepest, so don't be afraid to dig. You may discover suppressed parts of you under layers of oppression, control, or abuse from people who violated your boundaries in the past, or you may be carrying an ancestral or cultural history that overshadows you. If you have a new moon ritual or ceremony today, invite your ancestors or spirit guides to communicate with you, and Pluto sextile to Neptune could bring you a healing encounter through your intuition or dreams. So let's take a look at what we have going on in the sky in the chart here. And you can see we have a lot of enclosed geometric energy going on, and that often brings more determination or strength to the day, as well as a stronger directed flow of energy toward the planets that are involved in the aspect patterns. The squares are the things that are going to be poking at you and annoying you the most. We have plenty of ease and flow with the Grand Trine and a couple of other supportive sextiles and a trine here involving the planet of power, control, transformation, which rules Scorpio, Pluto in a trine to Uranus in Taurus, and together they both form sextiles to Jupiter and Neptune, which are loosely conjunct here, but in different signs. We are very close to Jupiter transiting back into Pisces. It's going to return to Pisces for a while, then come out of retrograde and go back toward moving forward into Aries. But for now, these two planets that are joined together increase the longing, the feelings of gratitude, hope for the future, and more of an awareness of self on an empathetic or psychic level. Due to the Neptune influence, Jupiter in Aries is self-focused, but Neptune is an all-inclusive energy in Pisces. So you're basically tuning back into the spiritual side of life here and having an awareness of your connection to something bigger than yourself. And Neptune is also a planet that is associated with the making of memories. It's a long-term love, and love that is romantic or sometimes sacrificial love, where we do good for the sake of doing good, or we would give up almost anything for somebody who we love. So this is basically refining and purifying on a spiritual level, and it can help you with self-healing as well as healing of relationships. If you are willing to be tolerant, forgiving, understanding, and if you're truly seeking healing, then there is an opportunity for that. The green dotted lines here, the quincunx aspects, they can feel sometimes like oppositions, and they can also function as a trine. It's really up to you how you choose to use the energy of those aspects, the quincunx aspects, whether you're going to be passive or active, whether you're going to use them for something that's positive or look at it from a negative perspective. The squares, we've got Mars square to Jupiter and Neptune, and that can be a lot of crying, actually. Mars is fiery in nature, and Neptune's very watery, and whenever they square each other, we have the planet of action, anger, frustration, and the frustration and anger can really be exacerbated through a square to another planet. In a square to Neptune, well, water puts out fire, things get steamy, things get intense. The frustration and disappointment that can come from this aspect often results in having a good cry. And that's what I've been hearing a lot of the last 10 days as this square's been in place. Many people are upset. They're letting go of things, whether they're letting go of old beliefs or they're letting go of jobs or places or relationships, and they're sad or they're feeling overwhelmed and fatigued. Any of those things can be happening right now under that square. And we've had this long-standing square between Saturn and Uranus, and I feel like it's a bit more societal than personal because Saturn's in Aquarius, and Aquarius is society and future oriented. And then we have the ruling planet of Aquarius, Uranus, in Taurus, and it's with the North Node. Decisions that people are making now, and the changes that society is going through, well, history in a way is repeating, and it's so important that we do it right, I think, this time around, and put down a better foundation that takes care of people's needs, that is much more focused on society and individuals and less on people in power having it all. So we've got a lot of tension in that square, and the one thing that I think is most important is vote when you have the opportunity to vote. Also, if an issue bothers you, go to the people that we have in positions of authority and express yourself. Society's changing, that's the main thing, but it's an awkward or uncomfortable change, and the old doesn't really want to give way to the new. There's a lot of fear in this square. We also have doubt going on in the Mars-Neptune square, and then we do have some real fear going on between the Sun, Venus, and the Moon square to Pluto in Capricorn. Passion, desire, control, jealousy, wanting what you want, but if you've already lost it and can't have it, or if you doubt that you can have it, and you want it so badly that it consumes you, fear of success potentially is in that square. And many people are afraid of success, what going to another level would do in their lives, and perhaps even the fear of deeper commitment and bonds of intimacy with other people. Even if you desire a relationship very strongly, but you are afraid of going deeper or sharing more, then you're blocking the good that can come out of the revelations that come through that square. Any square is basically a tool that pries you out of your stuckness. They're always an activation and a call to action, and they represent the work that needs to be done. And they should be viewed from that perspective, that they may be uncomfortable, but it's a necessary discomfort to basically move you on and activate things within your own natal chart. And it's a call for your own planets to function at their highest capacity and to make the most of the talents, skills, and things that you have in your own natal chart. So we've got this grand trine, which is extremely favorable because of the signs that are active. They are communication and social signs. Gemini energy is about neighbors, siblings, acquaintances, people you treat like brothers and sisters. Libra is one-on-one relationships, and Aquarius is group-minded, or society as a whole. So we have those 3 points functioning together very well. And we have two reality-based planets: Mars, planet of doing and action, and Saturn, which is about the work of things and the form and structure and the framework that it's built upon. And then the communication, cooperation, diplomacy, as well as design. Libra is very design oriented. This is all about making something happen for a better future with people. And that's where the help comes, and that's also where you're most needed. It's not about spending days in isolation or trying to do something entirely alone. We are into the Scorpio season, where we go from one relationship-oriented season to another. In the Libra season, we are doing a lot of comparing. We're also doing a lot of looking and shopping around when it comes to relationship. We're comparing people, we're comparing our relationship to other people's relationships, and we're concerned about the image we're projecting in relationship, as well as, I scratch your back, you scratch mine. Are things being reciprocated? When we get into the Scorpio season, relationship takes on deeper meaning. It is about that energy of commitment, and issues of trust come up. The issues around the sharing of values or money comes up. Things can become legal. Things can become extremely serious. And it's not so much about what society sees in a relationship. It's about what's going on behind the closed doors of a relationship. So some people are moving from one stage to another right now and going in deeper, and other people may have been doing some comparing or thinking and talking while in relationship, and realizing that somebody's changed, somebody's outgrown somebody else, and it's time to dissolve a relationship and move on. And that can be in personal relationships or work relationships, any kind of relationship. But boundaries, borders, the merging of them or the protecting of them is what Scorpio is all about. And that's where the focus is right now. We still have Jupiter and Neptune in retrograde, and the combination of these two, if you're coming out of one relationship and you're thinking about your past relationships and what you've learned, there is wisdom that can be gained from reviewing your relationships, past, and maybe there is potential for returning to an old lover, looking up somebody from the past and reconnecting. I am not sure exactly how that would go, but my thought on that is that get it out of your system and try, because Scorpio energy tends to obsess. And if you let this season go by without trying, you're always going to be stuck in the fantasy realm, and you may always look at any other new person that comes along and think, well, woulda, coulda, shoulda, or if a little piece of you is still in the past attached to the what if this person were to come back into your life, then you're not fully present for the new person who's in your life, and that's not fair to you or to them. So if there is somebody that you just can't really forget and you're wondering where they are or what's going on, go ahead and try, see what happens. October 30th, we have Mars in Gemini retrograding, and it will remain in Gemini until the third week in March. It does come out of retrograde on January the 12th, but through November, December, and part of January, Mars in Gemini in a retrograde brings some duality and possibly some choices. Should I stay? Should I go? Should I choose this one or that one? And it may also help you in communication going back to people from the past, because Gemini is a communicative air sign, and Mars would give you the impulse and the courage to take an action and reach out and communicate. So don't be afraid of looking backward if you need to finally get closure or figure out if that's something from the past that you can bring into your future. And if it's not, okay, well then move on and get out there and start connecting with other people using that grand trine. But don't go and suppress some longing or desire and not act upon it. It's better to try and to fail. Or what's the expression in love? It is better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all, is a good expression to live by right now, whether it's a romance or something else you're passionate about doing. And go for it. So if you fail, you fail. You go on to something else. And if it works out, then that's your new path in life, and you're busy working at pursuing that. Limbo is actually the last thing that Scorpio likes. It's got very firm all or nothing energy about it, and it's kind of pushing. We've got a push on the vacillation and indecision of Gemini right now, with Mars in a quincunx to Pluto in Capricorn. That's saying, no, you have to do something one way or another. And if it all goes up in flames and crash and burn, oh well, at least you've tried and you've found out, rather than having it poke at you and annoy you and keep you restless. Uh, it's better to try and have some sort of conclusion than to not try at all. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for today. We're at 2 degrees even. It's 2 degrees 0 minutes. So the symbol is a delicate bottle of perfume lies broken, releasing its fragrance. Keynote: the accidental nature of opportunities that impel one to break away from a past, the remembrance of which is still poignant and cherished. That's funny. That's one of the words that came into my mind when I looked at the aspect patterns today. Poignant. A new and greater realization usually demands the sacrifice of something which has brought loveliness and fragrance to a lesser form of living and feeling. Old feelings are poignantly remembered, even as one moves into a new and wider sphere of experience. Old relationships may be left behind, but the memory of their essential moments lingers on, perhaps strong and nostalgic. This is the second stage of the 43rd sequence, It contrasts with the first in that it reveals the difficulty of dealing with the past as one enters into a new realm of feelings. To the excitement of novelty answers the memory of the graciousness of the past one has surrendered. I'm really feeling that this is the moment. This speaks to a particular symbol and the feeling of that symbol, that 2 degrees, but it also seems to embody all the other aspect patterns within the chart. So this is one time where the symbol is right on. Interestingly for me, smell is probably the biggest trigger for me of memories and people. And sometimes I will, smell a particular smell and it takes me back to a place and time or a person. So the difficulty of dealing with the past as one enters into a new realm of feelings. Well, reconciliation is part of the process I think we go through along with closure. We have to be reconciled within ourselves over complicated relationships and feelings and over endings in order to let go and move on. We have to be able to accept and say, okay, well, this was, and it no longer is, and now I'm moving towards something else that will be. And that reconciliation is important, and that would, of course, require a surrendering. The sacrificial energy, we have Neptune very active in the chart. It's involved with Mercury, Moon, Sun, Venus all together, as well as the planet Uranus and the planet Pluto. So we are going through the change and the transformation, and we're stepping up to a higher level in terms of relating and our values and our tolerance, acceptance, and forgiveness of both ourselves and other people, while we have Jupiter in Aries, which is self-aware, and Neptune in Pisces, which is all-encompassing. It is a beautiful new moon, and an eclipse can always bring something to light that you were not aware of before that's been suppressed. And that's even more likely as we're having this occur in Scorpio, because Scorpio digs at what's buried underneath and brings it to the light. So I intend for you that you have some sort of revelation, reconciliation, and find some peace and healing, whether it's in a personal relationship or the ability to process something from the past, or go to a different level in a grief process so that you can look forward to the future with greater hope and optimism. And do, of course, stay safe on the road and be patient with other people. We do have a little bit of drama energy in here, and people perhaps responding with things like road rage. Not in a Mercury retrograde right now, but we will be going into a Mars retrograde in Gemini, and Gemini does rule vehicles and transportation. So, be patient, take care, and be tolerant of other people on the road, and stay safe. I will talk to you in 2 weeks when we look at a full moon coming up.